For this month's TV on DVD Spotlight, we have a pretty good mix of genre TV shows and more traditional dramatic and procedural TV shows. So I thought I'd kind of mix it up and skip back and forth from the more regular to the more esoteric, if you will. So first up, we have one of the biggest success stories of last season, The Good Wife. The Good Wife stars Juliana Margulies as the wife of a politician caught in a sex scandal, and so because her marriage falls apart, she basically goes back to work practicing law, which is what she did, of course, before she got married and got kind of caught up in supporting her husband, who was played by the infamous Chris Noth of Law & Order fame. And I'd heard a lot of really good things about this show, but I hadn't watched it early on when it aired because it just didn't necessarily seem like the type of show that I was going to get into. So I skipped it, but after an entire season of hearing how great it was, I decided, well, let me go ahead and check it out because, well, the DVD is here. It looks like a pretty good show. And I like some dramatic television sometimes. Not everything I watch has to be a genre show. Well, it turns out, of course, that The Good Wife gets a lot of critical kudos because it's a really good show. It's a good mix of drama, character study, and law show. And, while law shows can be overdone, this one is nice because, first of all, she's not the legal eagle that so many characters nowadays are on TV. She is a good lawyer, yes, but it takes her a while to kind of find her footing getting back into law. And because of that, it makes it a much more interesting than just the slam dunk lawyer who goes in and has the winning procedure every single time out of the gate. Add to that the drama with her family, her co-worker who there's sort of romantic attraction with, her husband who is trying to fix things with her even though she doesn't particularly have interest in that. And overall, it's a really good show. You have to like this sort of dramatic law show to really get into it, I think. But even if that's not your favorite genre, it's a good enough show to probably suck you in. Special features on the set include deleted scenes with additional commentary, on-air promos, a making of season 1 featurette, an aftermath real-life events featurette, and cast and crew commentaries on selected episodes. Now, moving as far away from that as we can possibly get, we have Spartacus, Blood and Sand, the hit Starz original series that features Andy Whitfield, John Hannah, Peter Mensah, and Lucy Lawless in the top billed roles. Now, this is an interesting show. It's clearly meant to capitalize on the success of films like 300, and in fact what it really is 300, the TV series. It borrows very heavily from the 300 movie in terms of its visuals, its entire aesthetic, and basically the feel of the show. That being said, it is a lot of fun, and it certainly does have its moments where it pushes the envelope. Starz clearly isn't shy about it being an unrated show. There's plenty of blood and guts and nudity, and it's a fun show to watch, but it kind of lacks a little bit in the emotional resonance department. It's enjoyable to watch. It's kind of a throwaway series, though. I never got so hooked into it or the characters that I really felt any need to watch it week in and week out from here on out. Of course, there's been a lot of bad news regarding Andy Whitfield and his cancer and what that means for the future of the show, and I hope that he recovers. He's a very talented actor, but in terms of the show itself, it's basically good, kind of trashy TV that you can enjoy on a Saturday night. Now, it comes on Blu-ray and DVD. The Blu-ray looks spectacular, really crisp imagery, good colors, good shadow delineation. Sounds great. This is a really active show with lots of surround sound usage and a ton of extra features. Audio commentaries, behind the scenes, multiple making of featurettes. It really is packed with extras, and I can't say enough about the packaging, which is really, really gorgeous. If you get a chance to see one of these opened and outside of the sealed packaging it comes in, I highly recommend taking a look at it. Next up, we have The Mentalist, the complete second season. The hit show returns for a second season, and once again it tries to prove that it's not Psych, and once again I consider it to be a ripoff of Psych. That being said, it's an extremely entertaining ripoff of Psych. Simon Baker is very good in the series, although his quirkiness can sometimes get a little bit old. But overall, it's a great procedural that works well for what it does. I just wish that the basic concept wasn't so ripped off of a show that I love, which of course would be the aforementioned Psych. Special features include a featurette called Mentalism, a Subliminal Art, which features a real-life mentalist, The Art of the Mentalist with Chris Long, which looks at the subliminal art woven into the series, and Lost Evidence, which is basically just deleted scenes from 5 different episodes. Next up, we have Being Human, Season 2. This is a BBC show, and as anybody who has been reading the site for a while knows, I'm a huge fan of most BBC television. Being Human is no exception to that. This is a show, it sounds like a joke, it's about a werewolf, a ghost, and a vampire living together. As usual with the BBC, though, it's so much more than just its concept. It's a brilliant character drama that's set in this world where these creatures really exist. And in Season 2, it really kind of ups the ante. There's a lot more of a mythology to the show in the second season than there was in the first season. Although this show really started developing a mythology and a universe and a world from the very first episode. But as always, it really is just kind of a great show involving these three characters, and really the communities at large. You know, the vampires, the werewolf aspect of things, even the ghost. They all sort of have their struggles. Some of them external, some of them internal. But it's really worth watching. I have a hard time explaining the show without making it sound kind of goofy, but it really is good, solid drama with some really great genre leanings. Anybody who likes vampires or werewolves or ghosts, for that matter, will really enjoy this show. On Blu-ray, it looks good. The BBC production values are at work here. It's not the best looking show ever, but it looks pretty good overall. Sounds real good. You've got some nice surround sound coming at you from your rear speakers. There's a nice ambiance to the mix. Extra features include numerous featurettes: Bloodbursting the Caves, Unleashing the Beast, The Swinging 60s, Behind the Makeup, Making the New Werewolf, and Train Carnage, and a couple of Easter eggs in the form of some hidden menus and a few extra making of featurettes. So really, this is definitely worth checking out. If you haven't seen the show, I do recommend it. Next, we have CSI, the 10th season. This is the post-William Peterson era in full, with Lawrence Fishburne in the lead role of the show now. And, boy, CSI really is just CSI, isn't it? There's not really a whole lot I can say about the show after 10 seasons. It's interesting to watch it with Lawrence Fishburne in the lead role. It's not the same dynamic there was when William Peterson was in the lead role, but with Georgia Fox coming back, Mark Helgenberger, George Eade still there, almost all of your main characters are still here, so it really plays out for the most part. The show still focuses mostly on the procedural aspect of it, the crime solving, and if you like that, you really can't go wrong. For me, I got tired of CSI a few seasons ago, but you know, when it comes in on DVD, I do enjoy popping it in and watching a handful of good procedural episodes. So for special features on this set, we get 2 audio commentaries and a number of featurettes: CSI The Experience, Frozen in Time, CSI's season opener, Leaving Las Vegas, Langston Heads East, Getting Lost, Lab Rats, The Saga Continues, Killer Tales, Season 10 of CSI, and you do get the CSI Miami and CSI New York crossover episodes, which is really cool because there was a 3-part episode that ran through all 3 of the series, and the whole thing is included here so that you don't have to buy the other 2 sets in order to watch the entire trilogy. Next up, we have Legend of the Seeker, the complete second and final season. I know this is a show a lot of people really wanted to get rescued, to get saved at the last minute. Unfortunately, it didn't, which is kind of too bad. You know, this isn't a show that I like fell in love with, but it's a really fun kind of genre show that's a little bit more, it took itself a little more seriously than something like, say, Xena, but it didn't take itself too seriously. It was a good kind of mythical action-adventure show. It followed this group of adventurers on their quest, had a really good kind of nice fantasy base without going over the top, and it had pretty good production values. In fact, the special effects were quite good, and I really kind of enjoyed the show for what it was. It really sort of had an overarching story arc as well as some good standalone episodes. Unfortunately, it just couldn't survive the ratings, and it did get canceled, much to many fans' chagrin. But, you know, it is a fun show, and fans will be happy to have the second and final season on DVD with some new bonus features. Redemption of a Mord Sith, Meet Kara, which is a featurette on the character of Kara. Under the Underworld, which is basically a making-of featurette on the Underworld, and a handful of extended scenes. So some good stuff there for people who are fans of the show. Finally, we have Thundarr the Barbarian, the complete series. This is a throwback to my childhood. It's 21 episodes of the classic cartoon Thundarr the Barbarian, which of course features Thundarr, he's a barbarian, his companions Ukla the Mock and Princess Ariel, not the one from The Little Mermaid, but instead a sorceress. And I really loved the show when I was a kid. Now, I will say, watching it as an adult, it's a little bit different. The episodes themselves don't hold up as much as they used to in terms of being great adventures, but I'll tell you where the show really stands out, and that's in its production design. It really looks fantastic. The post-apocalyptic world created for this cartoon is really brilliant. The artwork is fascinating to look at, and just watching the show, you really can't help but be impressed by the level of quality the artwork and the production design had for a show from back in the early 80s when this originally aired. And it is available only through the Warner Archive. You can find more information about that in the text portion of this review. But it is a lot of fun for people who remember this show fondly.